Joining us this week on the Daily Dose, we have a very special guest that I'm really looking forward to speaking to because he's got some different things going on and he's got some really good stuff that I like. Because Dr. Glenn Toby is not just a philanthropist, he's not just this entrepreneur out there. He's a walking testament to the power of transforming your life. From experiencing homelessness as a kid on the streets of Brooklyn to becoming a music industry pioneer. Yes, it's not just sports, music as well, and a wealth manager for a number of elite athletes. I promise you, you know these people, you've heard these names. Glenn's career spans 30 years from 80s music industry pioneer to one of the leaders in the entertainment and sports management world. Dr. Glenn Toby, welcome to the Daily Dose. I'm really glad to have you today.
So glad to be here. Thank you.
We're looking forward to this conversation. I'm kind of excited. Some of the people you've represented, I'll be honest, I'm big fans of. But let's go back. Let's start at the very, very beginning. Where did you grow up? What is your background?
I was born in Brooklyn,
Okay.
Crown Heights section, raised in Queens, Queens Village, Hollis area. Went to school there, and as a New Yorker, went through the five boroughs, building that life of mine. Once I got out of high school and started working and developing my what is to life today.
What was your home life like growing up? What were you? How was home life? Both parents in the home. What do you got going? What's going on at home?
Yeah, well, my mother migrated from Atlanta, Georgia. Father wasn't
Okay.
in my life. I experienced youth homelessness early. Um, from there, bouncing around, supportive family, friends, loved ones, government assistance and programs that got us, to bridge us to more stable housing by the time I got to the seventh grade. At that time, on the academic side, but was always an outgoing personality, which how the music came into play. Mr. Sweetie G, I'm one of the pioneers of hip hop in the Queensboro of New York.
Yeah.
Birthed in the Bronx. This is just before records came about. And as I was trying to figure out my life through business, I had the honor of joining Charles Fisher and Brian Latour to manage LL Cool J for over 4 years. We did the Mr. Smith album, which you see behind me, and with
Yes.
Hey Lover and so many other hits on it. And then we did a show with Quincy Jones called In the House. We did the FUBU deal and so much more. And through my career, I discovered David Banner, the rapper, Positive K, worked with Saigon, and so many others. And music was a bridge to a greater place for me.
Was music a part of your youth? Were you kind of raised on music as a kid? What were you hearing in your house? What were you hearing wherever you were staying? Was music a big part of your life growing up? Was it sports? Was it music?
Yeah, it was more music. I'd say
Okay.
the gift of song is what kept me strong, and that's the path that I carried all along. I mean, some people went to something else, but I thought that was my wealth. So I invested in it like I was trying to preserve my health.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get it. What kind of an impact, looking back now, music just getting you through, forget the business end of it. Music is this weird, almost drug that can carry you, take you back to a place you were 50 years ago and totally change your outlook. How is music affecting you at a young age?
I think having exposure to the world. At a young age, you have to focus a lot. You have to be disciplined when you're a kid that's displaced. So my brother and I, we had to listen to what our parents would tell us, my mother, my grandmother, and we still were adventurous and curious. So I think I picked up the sounds, whether it was the subway going by, horns blowing, somebody selling tickets in front of the garden. All of these things, I think, um, were notes on my sheet paper of life. I think I picked up the indelible parts of life. I think I picked up things that I saw, conscious and subconscious mind, and music and the spirit of music, the response from the crowd, writing, telling a story, following a formula was part of the package and the magic or secret recipe for me to cook the best food for the world to eat that I would give away for free and sometimes sell.
Absolutely. Now, you spoke a little bit about being homeless at a very young age.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of misconceptions even about young kids. What's the biggest misconception that you've kind of witnessed that you see over and over about people that grew up in poverty like that?
I think that every person is 2 to 3 paychecks, rent payments, mortgage payments, or at least paying your rented home. I mean, two, three, everybody's life changes if you don't have reserve capital, if you don't have access to getting loans, or you don't have money saved, or you don't have a financial education or awareness. I think we're all subjected to the same thing. If you're educated, financial education can make a difference. I think critical thinking methods, emotional intelligence, all are very important. And I think we judge people at their worst. We take somebody's entire life and measure them by their biggest loss instead of looking at the framework by their greatest victory. And I think a person that has mastered the ability to lose and overcome losing, that learns from it, extrapolates from it, pre plans, adjusts, kind of interprets what was missing, or I gave too much of this, I didn't give enough of that. That's called a champion. So I think people are always judging the lost, the lonely, and the forgotten by their worst effort, or probably their last effort, instead of the continuation of what they bring to the table as people, the best of them. We look at the worst in people generally, not the best.
You spoke a little bit about it just a minute ago. You spoke about how important it is to get that education. What kind of education did you end up getting in that situation where, hey, homeless, bouncing maybe around? What kind of education did you get?
It gives you an amazing instinct to know when you're safe and when you're not safe.
Yeah.
My mother had to escort my brother and I into the ladies' bathroom to go to the bathroom and just hold the stalls because, my mother was so far ahead. She wanted to make sure nothing happened. We weren't abused or hurt. Um, you know, Timing yourself and conditioning yourself to have the patience to know if we were riding the train waiting for the next place that we were going to stay, whether it's a hotel or a relative. We had to have patience. And I was very impatient as a youth, but that being rambunctious and adventurous drove to curiosity and drove for me to have the ability to adapt in adverse conditions. It allowed me to govern myself properly and be able to connect, resonate, and read the room better than the average person. And last, to always pull and be able to be creative, to have resources, not just for myself, but others, and not be a disruption when I'm coming into new environments.
As you're growing up and you end up going into kind of the management side of things, whether it was music, whether it was sports, whatever, what was kind of your focus of study as you got older? Did you have a specific academic kind of focus that you kind of honed in on and said, that's going to help me the best long run?
I loved social studies.
Yeah.
I loved politics. I loved learning. I just loved learning. Um, then obviously English. I was given, I think, my left and right brain support one another. And, some people say I'm just good with numbers and I am stoic and logical, non emotional. Some people are just creative and can't follow manuals or can't sit inside a box with a framework. I was able to navigate with that and still center myself to be able to pull from both toolboxes. So I think what it did was it allowed me to draw from different positions. When I didn't do so well and we were compromised in terms of safety, but never had any issues. We were never at harm. Compromised in being able to go in your own refrigerator and have a snack versus when you had it, there really was continuity in the framework of my spirit, my mind, and my character. It didn't tear us away from the good grounding that our parents gave us.
So you're growing up as this young kid. How in the world do you get into talent management? What is the path that you took to actually start managing talent? How did any of this happen?
What happened was Positive K, who was a rapper, he had
Yep.
some great hits. I produced his first record. I wrote his first record. I managed him with my brother Randall. And as his career grew, I did his first record, Getting Paid. And he had to leave. And he went to his greatest success. And I struggled to keep him with me. Come on, we can do this together. I'm the big
Yeah.
brother. We're friends. And when I saw him leave and take off, instead of looking at the loss, I looked at the gain. I realized that his gain in money, popularity, fame, as he had to leave us from management, was a gain for me too. It meant that I was able to water the seed. I was able to help create an environment that would foster a seed turning into a harvest. So I said, wait a minute, if I can do this once, I can do it again. I remained creative. I remained talented, and it helped me not smother other artists or be cross competitive. That if I had another rapper or singer that I'm not competing against them, I was able to pivot enough to put them in a silo so that they could foster and earn money for not just them, but me as well.
And not to drill down too far on this, but you talked about Special K, you talked about LL a little bit. What in the world was
Positive K,
going on?
positive K,
Positive
positive
K,
K.
sorry. What was going on in that area at that time? We saw this explosion of talent
Mm.
coming out of that New York, that Brooklyn area. This, you know, rap was young, rap was not quite, where it's at now. It was still figuring things out, but my goodness, there was an explosion of incredible talent coming out. What was going on
Yeah,
out there?
what was going on? I mean, Russell Simmons
Yeah.
was an innovator. People talk about Kool Herc as, the godfather of hip hop. You know, just before the emergence of popular culture being, the growth of it from going pop, crossing over, Russell was at the forefront of it. And I had the benefit of being in the neighborhood. In fact, I was a rapper that his brother Run and DMC, they used to pay to come see me. And so did LL Cool J. At the peak of my career, there weren't records. So we all saw this art form growing before our eyes. And Russell being the consummate pioneer and visionary and entrepreneur. He gathered all of the talent in the five boroughs and many other cities to build what we know as Def Jam. So
Yeah.
I think he was the visionary that found it. He was the godfather of it. And people don't talk about how he commercialized hip hop. And I benefited from that, being not just from his community, but being one of the first rappers that came out of that group.
Wait, you were one of the first rappers coming out. What was the stage name? We got to have it. What were you going by?
Mr. Sweetie G, Sweetie G,
All right. All
singing
right. All
rapper.
right. I love it. I love it. Hey, you talked about signing LL. LL wasn't he wasn't Macaulay Culkin. He wasn't 4 years old, but this is a child star basically. He's hitting as a 15, 16-year-old. How was he to deal with being that he had been, famous for that long? How was he when you worked with him, when you dealt with him?
Well, I had the benefit. Brian Latour was his friend, and Brian managed him for the greatest part of his career. Charles Fisher invited me to the team. I joined the team, brought a lot to the table. The three of us worked collectively, and then we actually started going in our own way. But for me, I was dealing with a grown man who was looking to who was an idealist with vision, with philosophy, who was learning the business as he went. We were involved in the greatest negotiation of his life. This is when Def Jam gave him a massive, I think it was the biggest advance in the history of hip hop. We got him that money, gave the continuity for he and Russell to keep the relationship. So I was dealing with a smart man that had been through failures, successes. This is just when he took the hat off, put the pants
Yep.
leg down, married
Yeah.
Simone, his wife, started becoming a great father, going into multiple enterprises. We brought things to the table collectively as managers, the Fubu deal, brand deals, setting up the tours. So I was dealing with a savvy business person who, much like myself, was able to operate on the creative side and the business side. I knew to stay out of his way and be an advocate and bring tools to the master of design and not get in the way. And that's how we were all able to thrive, make a lot of money, and change culture.
Well, and you definitely did because as kids, when you thought of LL, you thought of this bad young dude that was coming up and hungry and just now you look at him and he is smooth and he is polished and he is a savvy businessman like you spoke of. And I gotta think a lot of that was lessons that he learned in some of those formative years when he was just coming up.
Yeah, much of it was, but I think we created the framework. We created
Yeah,
the infrastructure that, he's using part of it, extrapolating from some of the ideology, the concepts, our misses and hits, but it's all of us. It's Charles Fisher, it's Brian Latour, it's James Todd Smith,
sure.
um, LL Cool J himself, and the providers and of services and good strategic partnerships that helped him thrive and build a career for me and the rest of us as well.
You're starting to pick up these clients. You're getting some. There's some names on your list. You've got some. Did you ever have anybody that you stopped and kind of went, "Hey, this is a big one. I'm landing a big one here." Did you ever look at it that way?
I think no, I watched these people emerge. They were big in talent, big in
Yeah,
possibility and potential. The vastness of their careers. O'Neal Bell, who had the honor of finding before he was ranked, Within 1 year, he went from unranked to ranked and became the unified cruiserweight champion of the world. First time in 40 years. I had no boxing experience. I pulled from my sports intelligence from being
Yeah.
with an NFL agency, um, intuitive, organic openness, and staying and playing my part on the team. Right. I'm not an expert in sports at the time. I'm learning as I go. I took the creativity of music. I took the speed of entertainment and merged it with the hardcore um, principle structure of sports, whether it's fighting in the ring. I worked with Don King in an advisory role for years, so I saw what was real about him, what wasn't real.
Yeah.
All my dealings with him is a man that kept his word. Every word he ever told me, he was honest. He was giving. This is the Don King that I met. I met these guys at different parts of their life, and I was
Sure.
able to work with him in a way that we did equitable business that was purpose filled, and we made a lot of money. Some of the bigger artists, I just became a part of their vast ecosystem and came in and brought value. And that's what you have to do when you're dealing with giants and icons. That's what you have to do when you're dealing with brilliant people who have a lot of talent, sometimes more talent, more scope, and more vision than you do. Find a way to work within the system, make it about the client.
You have a really cool insight into that. And it's funny because we always, as basketball coaches, we always looked at kids and said, you know, a lot of times, hey, players won't listen. No, players or whoever you do, they will listen if they think you have their best interest at heart and you can help them. They're absolutely going to listen. And if that's the way you're running business, you're going to probably be successful because you're looking to do what's best by them. Do you remember having maybe a defining moment in your career that kind of changed your perspective or made you kind of look at things a little bit differently?
Not really. I think it was measure the losses, treasure the wins. Wealth is the first step. Here's where it all begins. You can look at them pouting. You can look at the grins. You can count their blessings or you can count their sins. But this is what I say when the wind starts to blow. We know what we know. We win, let it go. When the time is right, measure it tight, and we'll see where this ends up. Little bit of
Fair enough.
lyrical fun.
Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah, I
get it
like it.
in.
You worked with LL. I'm sure you worked with more than that. You worked with a number of actors, you know, Jason Weaver, Lance Reddick. You worked with athletes, track and field, Olympian Samyr Laine. I mean, NFL players, Asante Samuel, Antonio Freeman, Josh Evans. These are big time athletes. I got to ask you, I know I'm a sports guy, but I got to ask you, athletes, Hollywood, musicians, does it matter? Is it all the same to you? Does it make any difference?
It's all entertainment based.
Yeah,
If you're respectful and you humble yourself and you're not bigger than the client and you don't fall in their shadow, you realize they're all CEOs. Some are CEOs that are wearing helmets on their head.
sure.
Some are CEOs that play instruments. Some are CEOs that change characters all the time. And if you, as the leader, the manager, the protector, part of the design, they switch real quick. They'll go from plausible, logical, smart, creative business people to someone that doesn't read a contract, is not dealing in logic, is extremely impatient, and is not operating inside the framework of the plan. You have to be able to move with them, but stay rooted to the ethics, the plan, the strategy, and still be able to pivot with their genius. That is the challenge. They're all pretty much the same, but none of them are completely the same.
Sure. Did you ever like notice like similarities? Hey, I'm dealing with an athlete. The athletes kind of tend to deal with me in this certain way, or is it just across the board? They're all kind of the same. You just got to deal with individuals.
I think the missives and the problems are generally the same. If you
Okay.
embarrass a big client,
Sure.
ego, access, what they claim is theirs, whether it's their relationships with girlfriends or a client that has a relationship and she's concerned about her boyfriend, love interest, family, health. Mental health issues, financial issues, they're just human beings. And when you're able to acknowledge their fallibility and their shortcomings. You're the person that they trust. You're the person that they're willing to guide and to make the difference. So you can't be judgmental. You have to give them enough room to fail. but not give them too much room to become a failure.
Sure. And how do you kind of toe that line? How do you know how far you can kind of push here?
I
Just a
mean,
gut. Is that just instinct?
great answer. Most of it is instinct, but even when the
Yeah.
instinct fails you, you need to have structure. And if the artist goes completely off the rails, if things go bad, whether they're going to prison, they have an injury, um, mental health issue, alcoholism, or just a stalled career, you have to be the stable person that they can't move. The client's work should move you, not their attitudes, their egos, their proclivities, or their shortcoming. You have to be moved by the success of them or be moved to help in the lack of success to move them where they have to go. You have to be stable, you have to be solid, and you have to encumber all of the fault, all of the mistakes and everything without exception.
What lessons have you learned, do you think, from managing these different people? And I know, I know in coaching, there's so many things that I took from coaching. They're not even athletic lessons, but I took so many things, even from the way I raise my kids and the way that I deal with my wife, whatever that I took from coaching. I took from dealing with people. What were the lessons that you've kind of taken just from your management career that you've maybe taken into your life?
I think it's taught me with relationships. Sometimes relationships change. They change
Yeah,
and permanently change and remain relationships forever. Sometimes relationships completely end on the second, and everything you did before is gone as well. It's pretty much erased. It doesn't matter because of either the client or yourself or as a group. And I've learned how to terminate things without it being necessarily ending in perpetuity to a negative, always to the gain. And sometimes that's you having to suck it up or be quiet or take the loss or ignore something so that you can have a good story to tell.
sure.
Oftentimes, when you're dealing with a talent that's the business, they want to take the entire scope of what you've agreed to, the scope of work, the scope of understanding, and they say, I am the talent, so nothing else matters but me. You have to know how to deal with that and measure it, and sometimes take a complete loss and walk away and take what's been valued, even if it's just an education, a few dollars, or access to experience. Sometimes you got to lose in order to win.
100%. I think back to coaching, and I'm sure you have the same thing, and you don't have to name names. Did you have those people that were talented that you look back and said they just didn't, for whatever reason, materialize the way I thought they were going to, or the way that maybe they even could have? Because I think of so many kids that I coach. I'm looking at them in fifth, sixth grade. They're going, "Hey, this kid's gonna be the next." No, for whatever reason, did you have those kind of stories? I'm sure you have a million of them.
You have it more than not. There's so many talented people
Yeah,
that don't make it. And
yeah,
someone you could have a client that doesn't pay you, doesn't pay the invoice, doesn't give you a commission, cuts you out, disappears. And a lot of times, just the balance of the universe, how God works, people call it karma, that readjustment in their personal spiritual life, whether it affects their family or them, it can affect them to where they end up in prison, where they're out of the game, where they have partners that aren't as endearing to their life and success as maybe you might be. You win by default. You want to be the default, not the fault.
right.
Default, not the fault.
Fair. Yeah, absolutely fair. By the same token, I gotta flip it. Did you ever have people that you signed that you said, "There's no way this person's doing anything," and they surprised you in a good way?
No, because
No?
yeah, because I wasn't, I put 100% of my work into my talent and my clients that I represent. They represent me. So I
Sure.
don't want them on my website. I don't want to know them. If I'm not in love with the work they're doing, in love with the legacy, I've never touched it, whether I've been extremely well off financially or had absolutely no money. I've always played for perpetuity. I wanted my work to reflect me. I wanted people to look at my body of work. I mean, that's what represents me. That's been my wealth. That's been my health. That's been my story. It's been my platform of how I communicate with the world. And that's how I got on this show.
Okay, I've gotta ask you. This is a big one. You started an endeavor called the Book Bank Foundation that is making a positive impact by providing homeless children and their families with resources for combating illiteracy. What inspired this foundation, and why was it so personal to you?
I had an amazing year one year. company did. We were well over what we had projected for revenue in 5 years. We achieved it in less in a matter of months. Into the football season, I said, how did I come out of the situation that I came out of? I know it was love, spirituality, respecting God, hard work, but I said, you know, where do I do, what can I do next? But that isn't just marked by my lifestyle, living in wonderful homes, having access to things that I want and desire, my dreams coming true. And I said, what can I do to make a difference? I said, to go back and make another me, guide another me, find some kid that's almost there, that's not even there, some kid that doesn't want to share, um, whose cupboards are bare. And that was me. I said, let me go back and show them the gift of giving, how to give, how to go in and change your community. If the condition of the community doesn't look the way you want it to be, you can have an effect on it. If financially you don't like where you are, you don't have enough money saved, you don't have the right investments, you don't have good money habits, that can be changed. So the art of change is in doing the work. I thought about book, which is um, where we learn, right? Instruction manuals, religious books. I thought about bank. You have an emotional bank, a spiritual bank, a financial bank. You put those two together, that is the resolve to ignorance because you are taking away from education and wisdom and teaching, and then you're saving it in a place to resolve issues and challenges you have. Book, bank, foundation. Been around for 29 years. We serve the lost, the lonely, and the forgotten through one of our three of our many programs, our Groceries to Grow, where we deliver food to people who haven't figured out how to budget, how to plan with good dietary practices, how to put meals together, or may not have the money to know how to shop. We give them that until we can help them have the groceries they know to grow out of this situation and have stability and continuity to be able to take care of themselves for life. We do something called one block at a time. We go into the communities. And what we do is we clean up the community. We have everybody come out and pick up dirt, move dirt, lint, garbage, trash. Even we work with the city to move refrigerators or tires that are there. And then we're doing something this summer, this month, where we have a camp, aviation camp led by Captain John Addison, where we take several kids from the age of 12 to 19 and we teach them the STEM, science, technology, engineering, arithmetic, and math. I'll call it, but we'll go to training in the classroom and online all the way up to them actually flying the airplane and getting certified.
This is absolutely outstanding. I love the work that you're doing. I love the fact that not only are you giving some kids some tools, these are tools for life. This is not a tool for right now and it'll get you. No, no, no. This is something you're going to take with you for the rest of your life, not just changing a day, changing a life. And that is absolutely incredible and very, very inspiring. I talk to people and we would talk to kids or whatever. We'd say, "Hey, who are you helping? What are you doing?" If you're spending too much time worrying about your own situation, a lot of times one thing you can always do is go help someone else, and you'll be amazed at how much it changes your life. But what advice would you give to someone who wants to maybe get involved in their community, doesn't quite know where to start? How would be the best way to get started?
The more you give, the more you live. And a cup that runneth over forever means that you are in sync with the universe and that you're being blessed. You're doing something, somebody else's prayers or well wishes or your faith kind of monetizes not just your money, but your mission and your purpose in life. You know, I call it gifting, GIFT, giving in faith and trust. I'm giving to you in faith. I aspire. My spirit tells me you're going to do well and you're going to give this gift and you're going to be a blessing to somebody. And trust, meaning I'm trusting you having the responsibility. So, giving a gift is the greatest honor you can give. Not only are you the curator of resolving an issue, not only are you, I'd say, a symbiotic chain to God's grace, his way of coming to give us resolve and peace and healing. We become in that chain. And when you practice it systemically, you can get other people to do it, and they'll find that there's a better way in fixing problems, having an understanding, and living collectively by giving something up that you shouldn't be holding on to. Maybe you have too much of it. Some call it greed, some call it selfishness. And when you trust to let go, you know the dynamic of life and how you live your life. Your legacy will mandate that someone always has something, not just an open hand for you to give, but an open hand for you to receive when you release it.
Absolutely. You know, when you've got an incredible story, the background that you came up with, the way you were, growing up and what you came from to accomplish what you have and to be where you're at, where now you're going back and helping people, very very similar to your background, is an incredible. I mean, you want to talk about a circle of life? My goodness, what a circle you have taken. What's the one thing you'd like people to take from that incredible story, though?
It is better to answer the call of righteousness, but we don't know what that is. Like God says something in our ear, says, God told me I wanted to be a pastor. You know what? I think I should come out of the NBA early. Hey, I should marry this girl. I should trust my son in this business. I haven't gone to church or to shul or to the mosque lately. Hearing that voice, the whisper. I say the whisper is the conscious Christ consciousness or Musa or whatever your religion is or Buddha. That silence that you hear where there's no words coming out of your mouth or somebody else's is when you are completely have continuity with the Spirit of God. When you are in the complete wellness and fullness of your purpose, to know when to be quiet and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. When to be more quiet so that the words that you leave with someone in silence will resonate and come back. We have to be humble, we have to be intuitive, and we have to know when to turn it off as well as when to turn it on.
No, you're absolutely right, and you couldn't have said it better. That's a really good way to kind of wrap this up. Dr. Toby, how can listeners keep up with you? How can they keep up with what you're doing? What is the best place to kind of find where you're at, maybe even to support some of your causes and what you have going? What is the best place for listeners to come find you?
Oh, please come to my website. It's Dr. Glenn Toby, DrGlenNNToby.com. Through there, you can see my TED Talk that I more recently did,
Okay.
which will help with healing and purpose and self-discovery. I welcome everybody to go check out my TED Talk. It's on the website. It tells you a little bit about what I'm doing, and we're going to be
Okay.
blogging on there and giving tools. The YouTube, it's Dr. Glenn Toby as well. A lot of speeches and tools that you can use for critical thinking and to apply to your mission in life. And then I have a book called The Four Boxes that's dropping. It's an ebook I'm giving away free at the end of this month. And it is a way to discuss about healing, how to find your resources, all for free. And tune in on Saturday nights to hear me playing live, DJing the
Uh-oh.
Global Dance
Uh-oh.
Party on Freshest FM, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every single Saturday night live.
I love it. I am gonna have to check that out. I absolutely love that. Hey, Dr. Toby, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your incredible story. And again, anytime you're getting involved, you and I spoke a little bit before we started recording. You're getting involved, helping kids that desperately need it. And we say that all the time. I don't know if there's too many kids that don't need some kind of help in some way, because you're not just giving them a day's lesson. You're giving them a life lesson that they're going to carry forward with them. That is just phenomenal work. I would like to just say thank you so much. We appreciate you being here at the Daily Dose. Would love to have you back anytime.
Well, I'm honored to come here. And before I close, because you have so many young listeners, to all of you youth who are in sports, middle school, high school, even those of you in the college portal, is a company that I'm a partner with some amazing gentlemen. It's called the Winner's Circle. We do name, image, and likeness. What we do in the likeness is we advise you how to go into the portal, out of the portal, how to be recruited, helping them set up, their website and have
Yeah,
an accountability, not just as a professional in terms of academic achievement, and as well as being, athletic prowess. But it's
sure.
Brady Jackson and
Yeah.
Raheem Vick.
Okay.
We have a team of experts at the Winner's Circle. Google us, find us. We're here to help youth find their space, not just the money, but the purpose. Thank you.
Well, and that's really really good information, because I feel like we have we're kind of in this wild west right now of the NIL stuff, and we've got some people that would be all too happy to take you down a bad path as long as they're going to get money from you. Get involved with someone who's going to take care of you. He's got a track record. You're going to want to go look this up. If you are getting involved in that NIL stuff, trust me, you're going to want someone to shepherd you that is going to take care of you. That is key here. There are way too many parents and way too many young people that are getting taken advantage of. We're never going to hear from them again. I hate to say that, but it's absolutely true. Go find someone who's going to take care of you. Dr. Glenn Toby, I want to thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time today.
I'm glad to be a part of the history. You've been one of the most trusted sources for 11 years. I'm so proud to be a part of it, brother. Thank you.